Hi everyone, welcome to UTV Guna and our show, The Shooting Lone Star with Ram from the Austin Gooners. Hey bro, how are you?
What's up, bro? Just trying to survive this hot Austin summer. But we're making it. Really excited about Austin FC. We're not top of the league, but we're contenders for a playoff or knockout stage round, which just happens at the end of the season, right, for us. Um, so that's kind of keeping our spirits up while we wait for that, and along with like transfer business. It's killing the days before like we start seeing some actual Arsenal football action, which it's getting closer, right? But you know, yeah, summer, man, the dog days of summer, they like to call it here. Um, we'll be all right, enjoying it. How about you, man?
Yeah, well, good. We're having a good summer here as well. It's been really hot for a prolonged period, a lot of sunshine, bit of rain about today, but still good temperature and yeah, enjoying it. For me, I'm a big fan of cricket, so there's a lot of cricket going on at the moment. Cricket's a big summer sport here. I know in America it's not that big. They are trying to make it bigger there, though. I've got some friends that are out there. One of them, Ricardo Powell, he has an academy out there. He's a former
Hmm.
player for the West Indies, and yeah, anyone watching this that wants to get into cricket out in America, check him out. Ricardo Powell Academy, doing good things out there. Great coaches, and yeah, for me, cricket is one of my big passions. So yeah, that's a lot of that's on right now. England are playing in a test match against New Zealand. It's busy. There's the domestic competitions we have. So like we have like counties here. So for us, like it's Middlesex where I stay, but all the different counties. So for example, up north, like Manchester, their counties Lancashire. I mean, like
Hmm.
the Midlands, like where Birmingham is or Aston Villa, their county is Warwickshire. So yeah, they play against each other as well as the international matches. Yeah, got that to watch. And yeah, as you say, transfer news this last week when I spoke to you on the last show, we were pretty sure we were going to be getting Fabio Vieira. There were strong rumors linking us with him. It wasn't quite signed and sealed at that point, but it is now confirmed. 40 million euros. I don't know much about him. You know, when I heard about the transfer, I didn't really know much about him. Done some reading and seen a lot of good reviews. He's like plays that Odegaard role, attacking midfielder, but he can also play as a second striker. He's really good at unlocking defenses. 14 assists he had last season, 6 goals. So hopefully he's going to be a good buy for us. Your
Hmm.
thoughts on him?
Yeah, I was really excited. Caught me off guard, like probably most of Arsenal supporters around the world, right? Like everybody was really keeping an eye on Yuri Tielemans and Gabriel Jesus. This one just came out of nowhere. In fact, I remember the morning of, at least morning over here, I think word came out that like Tottenham or somebody was gonna sign somebody, and the chatter I was starting to see was like, oh, look at Arsenal still not doing anything, and then within the hour, uh, word drops that we're signing this guy, and everybody's like, who? And everybody gets excited. Um, I did watch a video of him on YouTube. Now, granted, you could probably make a highlight video make anybody look good, right? Like you can pull a random player, pull a bunch of their highlights, and you can put together a tape that makes them look like the greatest player in the world. Um, but watching him, at least watching the highlights that I saw, like as you said, very similar to Odegaard's style of play, like just kind of a magician right there in the midfield, and smaller spaces is kind of what made me think about Odegaard too. And you've seen a couple of those highlights that Odegaard was kind of just playing like back and forth with a couple of teammates, like right in a small box or something like that. That's kind of what he's kind of thrives at doing. Saw him kick off a couple of assists over to Luis Diaz, who's over at Liverpool now. So it looks like Porto over there has a nice little I guess farm system, if you will, like bringing up players. Like I don't know exactly anything about that organization, to be honest, but it looks like they had a strong team going on over there with a lot of really good players that are getting plucked now. Um, and Fabio Vieira is one of them. But yeah, I'm really excited about the fact that he's going to be able to push Odegaard, uh, allow him to maybe not necessarily play. I mean, last year he played 36 games or at least 36 starts or appearances, um, which is great. I mean, these athletes, this is what they do. This is what they train year round for. This is what they get paid very handsome wages to do. But at the same time, you look at what teams like Man City do and Liverpool and even someone like Chelsea, like, you know, how many times have you watched our matches against them or just watched them on TV and you're looking at them and then you see them announce the substitutes and it's like Mo Salah coming off the bench, Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench, Kevin De Bruyne sometimes wouldn't start. Um, so like that's and then I'm sure as a as a player on another team, you're thinking like, oh great, like we busted our ass to keep it this close now, and look who they're bringing on. Like that's how I felt when we watched like Liverpool, for example, the last one when we lost 2-0, for example. Um, we're playing our ass off, and then they just bring in a couple substitutes who are world class players, and then boom, put 2 goals in us in like less than 10 minutes, and then it's game set match at that point. So I feel like that's what we're trying to do, and I'm excited about it. Like I don't think he's gonna get a lot of starts, but he's gonna get enough appearances to kind of make an impact. And again, at the same time, reduce the workload that Odegaard has to do, and that's gonna make him more effective. And then again, just gives us more, gives Arteta more options to kind of change tactics in the middle of the game. Like how many times have we watched a game and we had a plan, it doesn't work, and then we just look like lost out there, and then we really don't have any like substitutes kind of change things up and try something different. And I think this provides at least some kind of opportunity. Like, hey, if maybe him and Odegaard can, maybe there's a scenario where they can both be on the field at the same time, and who knows what they can accomplish. So lots of opportunities, man, that come with having depth, and I think this was a big depth move. So I'm excited. And another thing that I really wanted to like kind of talk about was like he was the under 21 Portuguese for captain for the Portuguese team, the under 21 Euros that happened this past summer, along with like a senior team Euros. So following this theme, I think that Arteta is looking for leaders, right? Like Odegaard's the Norway captain at his young age. Albert Sambi Lokonga, I believe, at least wore the captain's band for one of his under 21 competitions with Belgium, and he's also a fringe player on the Belgium squad for the World Cup. And just all the other young guys that we're bringing in that seem to have that professionalism about them, that they're about their business, they're ready to play. They're obviously, everybody's going to have their own personality or whatever, but he certainly fits into the type of player that Arteta's been bringing in. Someone like even like Tomiyasu as well. Like you don't really hear him or see him outside of really just playing and all that kind of stuff. So Gabriel, Ben White, same thing. I mean, all these young guys. Aaron Ramsdale's probably the most I guess flamboyant personality out of every one of them, right? Like, and even then, like he's really like the emotional leader of this squad. So sure, we have like a lot of young guys, but they all seem to just be a little bit older, at least mentally, which I think is going to bode well for us in the future. Um, whether they're the starting guy or the guy on the bench, everybody knows that. Like I think Arteta wants players who are going to know that they fit a very specific role and that they're going to do it very well, or that they're going to be expected to do it very well, or else they don't get appearances. So you don't necessarily want a bunch of like superstars unless they're you know ready to kind of be part of a team. And so sure, he's young, 21, 22 years old, probably has a lot of growing up to do and all that good stuff, but when you start looking at the pieces that are being put together, the sum starts looking really good, as opposed to just a bunch of young guys who could probably. I mean, like Tavares still plays for the under 21 in Portugal as well. So like even then, like yeah, we got a bunch of under 21 guys, but they're on the senior team. Like doesn't matter when you put them all together. Like you're starting to see a picture of what Arteta wants and what this team is going to start looking like. So yeah, man. I think it's only. I mean, we're not bringing in a ton of players, it seems, but the ones we are bringing in are going to be quality, and that's what we want, right? So, I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we still bring in more players, but it looks like the ones we are going to bring, it's going to take a while to come to fruition because I think what they really want is like quality guys on the squad. So I'm ready, man. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make about the leadership.
Yeah.
Say we have lacked leadership in recent times on the pitch when we're struggling. We're looking at who are the leaders. It's a young team, but like this is not a recent problem. It's a problem we have for quite a few years where we've lacked leaders in the team. So hopefully, Arteta is looking to address that and have more leaders out there. And as you said, the theme of signing young talent as well. This transfer goes with that. He's still very young and he's got a lot of room for improvement. And let's hope he does really well. So other big news that's come out in the last few days is that Eddie Nketiah signed a contract extension. So it's a long-term deal, 5 years, 100K a week. He's also going to be wearing the number 14 shirt. So there's been a lot of people that are quite upset that he's wearing a number 14 shirt. Also that he's been offered these big wages. What's your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, I think the weight, like just to go with the wages thing first, I think that's sort of just I guess par for the course with what's going on with wages, especially in the Premier League. Like if that makes, that's one of the reasons why I think the Premier League is one of the strongest leagues in the world because it's the richest, right? So we have the money to pay players. So I think on the Arsenal end, I don't think it's that much of a problem to have to pay him that much because I think if we were going to lose him for free, he was going to probably be getting that wage somewhere else. So I'm kind of thinking that Arsenal is trying to consider like weighing the options, letting him go for free, or can we just pay him this wage? And the money we're going to pay him on wages might, if we decide to sell him, it's going to be that much smaller. Like it's not a big deal in the long run. Because we did sign him up to a long deal, like 5 years. So in 1 or 2 years, if it's not working out and we decide to put him on the market and we can bring in some money for him, I think, biting the bullet now and paying him 100K a week is not the worst thing in the world. And especially, he has put in all the work. He's been with the club since he was like 14 years old. So he has paid his dues in a sense. And, we saw at the end of the season exactly what he can do when he can get a run of games. Now, can he do it over a longer period of time? Like that's the big question, right? And I think one of the reasons why he ends up getting 14 is this sort of motivation trick, right? Like not a trick necessarily, but like a tactic, if you will, of saying, okay, like, you're going to get a new number, 14's available. Do you want it? And I'm sure he jumped at the chance to get it. On one hand, like I don't think football, at least in Europe, is the only sport that really cherishes numbers. Like you see that across all sports. Some numbers even get retired, and some numbers are almost they may not be retired, but they come with a sense of like an aura around them and almost a responsibility, like if you wear them. And 14 for Arsenal is no different, right? But I think you don't necessarily need to already be there to to be worthy of wearing the number. I think it's more of just like a challenge thing. Like, all right, you're going to be one of our strikers. Here's 14 for you. Let's see what you can do. Kind of like how it went with Emil Smith Rowe last year, right? 10 becomes available. He's the young guy who is moving up to the first team. Why not give him 10? At the same time, there was this expectation around the fans, around the club saying, all right, you're going to have to step up and provide us more goals, more assists, be a little bit more dangerous on the offensive end. And what did he end up doing for a large part of the season? He stepped up, right? He scored a good amount of goals, was part of a lot of chances for us. and who knows what that's been attributed to. Obviously, he's getting better. He's a professional. He's a young player. He loves where he's playing. But you got to maybe in the back, like at least subconsciously, knowing that he has the 10 shirt, he's gonna have to like bring it every day in training, in practice, because he knows the spotlight is on him, right? So kind of hoping that's kind of what the same thing that's gonna happen with Eddie Nketiah. Like Breck, yeah, sure, we haven't seen the most out of him yet, but maybe this is what happens. And if it doesn't, not the worst thing in the world. I'm pretty sure we went like on a list of every single Arsenal player to wear 14. You're probably going to see some misses on there, just as you're going to see like obviously Thierry Henry. I would even argue like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had a nice little run with the 14. So Ray Parler wore 14 back in the day. That's my one piece of knowledge about him. But yeah, so yeah, obviously that's a lot of words to say. Like it does matter and also doesn't really matter at the same time. But I think the uproar is a little bit ridiculous, and I just think like, hey man, just let him play, man, and let's see what happens. I'm happy for the guy. I kind of wanted him to stay, and I'm glad he's going to end up staying. And he looks good, and Nketiah looks good with the 14 on it, man. So I like it.
Okay, for me, as I've told you before, I'm a bit skeptical of him as a player. I'm not
Yeah,
sure he's at the required level that we would want, but he's still young. There's room for improvement for sure. Now, he's going to be with us for the long term. Going to back him. Hope he does well. Bangs in the goals. The shirt number doesn't matter as long as he's banging in the goals. No one's going to care about the shirt number.
yeah,
Let's
for
hope
sure.
really good season next season. As you said, it's about can he do it over a long period now. So let's hope he can. He's got the
Uh-huh.
potential. Got the potential for sure. If he can just keep working hard, improving, then hopefully, as I say, he gets a lot of goals and he'll be a great long-term play for us. Okay, so looking at some of the other speculation now. So as always, there's a lot of rumors around. There's been some strong links with Rafinha recently. The Gabriel Jesus one, they're saying with negotiations with Manchester City. A lot of things that are coming out right now. You don't know what to believe at this time of the season. Read so many different things, so many different links. Like Rafinha, they're talking about 65 million. I mean, that's really pricey, but yeah, it's a lot going on right now. So, what's your thoughts on all the speculation?
So the most recent thing I read, like not even that long ago, about Rafinha was so we got the first bid rejected, like outright rejected, and then I think most recently we're in an improved bid of 55 million plus 15 million add-ons. I guess that's based on performance or whatever. Like I don't even know what that really means. So maybe kind of the same thing. Like I do know that Leeds are kind of being a little bit like they're kind of raising the price on him a little bit because I know Barcelona wanted him. Uh, but at the same time, Barcelona's probably not going to pay because they can't. So I think that keeps the doors open for the rest of us, like for a club like us that maybe can't match Barcelona in a normal time, but the door is still open. So why not continue to shoot our shot? Uh, so we'll see what happens with that. Like again, I don't know necessarily what those add-ons mean. Like I don't know the specific details, but 55 million would be maybe still a little bit high, but he's a really good player, really young, right profile. Like he would fit in perfectly. I guess right behind Saka is where they're kind of thinking about. Which again, same you take everything I said about Vieira and Odegaard, kind of the same thing with Bukayo Saka and Rafinha. Like provides cover for him, but we don't lose, I guess, the quality if we have to like sit Bukayo Saka for a game or two because of injury or just resting or just preparing him for like a whatever, like the rotation, right? Um, I would love him on the squad. He's definitely one of the players I love watching with Leeds. So we'll see what happens with that. I think that's still kind of slightly out of our reach. I think at this very moment in time, the one that I think is we'll see, right? But I think the one that's most likely we're going to find out soon enough the conclusion with Gabriel Jesus. We'll hopefully find out within the next few days whether it's going down or whether it's not. Um, I want him. I've been wanting him since the day like his name was connected with us. But if he doesn't come, I'm gonna be sad, but I'm like, all right, I'm sure there's somebody else we're looking at, and at least we know early on in the transfer window instead of it just dragging along like it did with Vlahovic over at Fiorentina, right? So I'm kind of liking our strategy of just kind of like pushing it, right? Trying to just make it happen. Edu, I think, came out recently with a quick interview when they were introducing Vieira, and he was saying like, yeah, our plans are to go young. Our plan, like, we're still not done in this window. So I'm riding with him, man. I believe everything he has to say right now. And I really want Gabriel Jesus to talk. I mean, at least to talk a little bit about him. Like, I think, we've definitely set the youth part of the project down pretty well. Like, we have a large base of young players. He's probably a little bit older on that scale. He's what, 25, 26. And I think if we bring him in, not only is he slightly a little bit older, but he's been there before. He's won Premier League titles. Much to our chagrin, he hasn't won the Champions League with Man City, right? But that's like another story. But he's lifted trophies, right? He knows what it takes. So he's gonna bring that. He would bring that experience to a squad like this. He's worked with Arteta, so they know each other already. So I think that improves Arteta's credibility even further. So that could, all these other young players, Martinelli, Bukaka, Emil Smith Rowe, that lets them know like, hey, this is serious. So when negotiations come up for their contracts, they're thinking twice about, leaving. Not to say that's what they're thinking, but it sells the Arsenal project a lot more if we can get someone like Gabriel Jesus to leave Man City, where they're winning titles every year, they're playing for Champions League finals, and come to Arsenal, which, we don't have Champions League football right now, and we're still trying to just get into the top four. Like, we're not there where Man City is, but we're taking a player. Like, it'd be great to take a player from them to plug into our mission and our project. So that one, I'm hoping, like, whether we get him or not, like, I just want to know soon enough. And if he does, I hope we give him the number 9 or something like that, and just make him our guy. Like, he's a centerpiece, and I think that raises the level of Nketiah as well. Like, you would imagine Gabriel Jesus being the guy and Nketiah being the rotation guy. And man, imagine like we have Gabriel Jesus, Bukayo Saka, and Martin Odegaard, right? Like, that's kind of one side of the piece. And then to back them up, we have Vieira, we have Rafinha, and we have Eddie Nketiah. Like, that's like, we have options, and that's all that matters, I think, at this point. So I'm excited, man. I'm hoping we get at least one of those players. Rafinha, Jesus. I know there's another guy, Lisandro Martinez, who's from Argentina, who plays left back. Like, that would be good as well. But I'm kind of more excited about those first two names, man. Like, plus the Brazilian connection, man. Like, I love Brazil football, so I want us to bring more Brazil players. Like, I think that's only going to help us play like the kind of football we want to see. So I don't know, man. What are you thinking? I'm excited.
Yeah, with Jesus now, so we can't offer him Champions League football, but he knows Arteta well, so that should help. Also, the fact, as you mentioned, the Brazilian connection. So we got a few players from Brazil in our team now. Our centre back Gabriel, Martinelli, Marquinhos that we just signed now, Edu, director of football, as we know, is Brazilian too. We got this deal with Sao Paulo that he's made as well to get their best talent coming first tabs for us and them. So, that's another selling point for us. And hopefully we can get that one over the line. It's some priority. We all know we need a striker. That's the most important signing we can make this transfer window. Yeah. So let's hope it is him. As you said, if it isn't, we need to find out early and then start working on whether the plan B or plan C is. But yeah, I'm excited. I think we need to get 5-6 players in. So we've got 2 now, at least 4 more to go, and I hope we can get that business. So I want us to get done early as well. We don't want to be leaving it too late. We want to get them players in the team early, integrated into the team, playing in the preseason games, working on tactics, so we hit the ground running and start the new season. And talking of the start of a new season, so the Premier League fixture list was released last week,
Yeah.
and it's given us Crystal Palace away as the opening game. We're playing again on the Friday night, so opening the season, we'll be on TV. All eyes will be on us. It was the same last season. We were away to Brentford. We didn't turn up in that one. I know we had some issues with COVID. Aubameyang, Lacazette weren't playing, and we left our transfer business too late. So like Ramsdale wasn't there for that one. This time we need to be ready. Make sure all our transfer business is done early. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the fixture list? Palace away is really hard, but apart from that, the opening few games are quite good. You'd say Leicester at home, Bournemouth away. Then first 3 games, not so difficult compared to last season where we had Chelsea as our second game and Man City as our third game. So yeah, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, early fixtures. I want to kind of skip ahead a bit and then go backwards. But if you look at October, in succession, starting on the first, we have home to Spurs, home to Liverpool, away at Leeds, home to Man City, and then Southampton and Nottingham Forest. Chelsea is the first match in November. So that's like a really tough stretch. That's kind of scary. And then if you go backwards a little bit, September we only have 2 league matches, or 3, right? Brentford away, Everton at home, Man City away. That's a little bit tricky, right? Like Man United, excuse me. Like that stretch, September and October seems to be a little bit of a difficult stretch for us, and then throw in Europa. So with all that being said, I'm actually really excited about our first month of fixtures because take away Crystal Palace, and I'll get that in just a second. But yeah, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, Aston Villa, all I think are winnable matches. That's 12 points off the bat right there. Regardless of how we start out, I think Bournemouth and Fulham are one of those a couple of those yo-yo clubs that are just who knows how they're going to perform, right? Villa is always tough, but it's at home. Leicester, they always play, that's always a difficult game, or at least a tricky game. But I think we're clear of them right now, especially like, even, last year we did the double on them. So yeah, Crystal Palace, man, that's one of those games. Like I'm already emotionally preparing myself to be sad on that Friday afternoon. And, we're going to lose like something dumb, like 1-0, 2-0. Like, I don't think we're going to get smoked or whatever. So I'm really kind of anticipating that, but maybe the best we can hope for is like a draw. Obviously, it'd be great if we can pull off a win. Like that would be amazing, and that would really show that this team might be a little bit different from the teams that we have been in the past. Like total trap game, something a game that same old Arsenal is going to show up and just wet the bed and not well. Like it'd be great if we can just turn up away against Crystal Palace and those rabid fans and just shut them up, right? Make that stadium quiet. It'd be amazing to see because yeah, we do have a really good stretch and we can certainly hit the ground running. Looks like we have 22 games plus Europa League group stage matches that are going to happen before the World Cup break. So it's going to be really important for us to stack a bunch of wins early so that, once we get into the rough stretch, we'll see what, we can at least be like, okay, like we might not be able to win every single one of these games, but we can get away with some draws and maybe a loss here or there because losses are inevitable, right? But yeah, we'll be able to at least, pick up some steam early on so that when the inevitable stretch happens where we might have a rough go a few games, like we'll still be in good position. And I think that's, what helped us last year. We had a rough January, but we had such a good couple months before that the good thing at the end of the month was like, hey, we're still in good position here, despite of like the crappy 30 days we had. So we can still move forward and our eyes are still on the prize. So yeah, it's gonna be like that again, but I think earlier. So yeah, so I think it's really important that we set up and get some set up our team and early and get some transfers in so that we can integrate them into the team, get ready to go, so that once the season starts, we hit the ground running. Because sure, it's a little bit easier to start, but then we hit a real rough stretch quickly, and yeah, it's going to be a really condensed fixture list, especially because of the World Cup.
Yeah, that first game, as I say, we've got to be ready for it. We saw what they did to us just a few months ago.
Yep.
Really important must-win game for us. They played us off the park, beat us comfortably 3-0. So we know it's going to be a difficult game. They got a good manager there, our old guy, Patrick Vieira, some really good players there. We know it's going to be a hostile atmosphere, first game of the season as well. So yeah, a lot of pressure, but I hope we go there ready. As you say, silence the fans, get a good win, and then that'll give us great confidence for as you said, the first few games. It's a good chance for us to pick up some good amount of points before we get into that tough stretch that we have in October. I looked at it at least for October. I was like, oh, that is a lot of difficult games in a short space of time. But yeah, if we can pick up a good amount of points from these easier games before that, that's really going to help us
Yeah.
going through that difficult month of October. Okay, so before we go, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the NBA. The finals finished last week. Amazing. Golden State Warriors won. As you know, that's for the team I support in the NBA. Love him. Love Steph Curry. He deserved it. What a performance. For me, he was a difference in the finals. He just stepped up and showed what a world-class player he is. Throughout the series, he was on fire. He was averaging over 30 points. And what a player. What a team. Wiggins as well was great. And as a team, they just done so well. And shout out to Boston Celtics as well. Good young team, some really good players there. They put up a good fight, but in the end, the Golden State Warriors were just that bit too good. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Biggest question for the Celtics young team is, can they do it all again and go back and compete for titles? Who knows, right? I think they can. They got a lot of good players. Surprised me because they were kind of like iffy during the season, and then in the playoffs they really stepped up. So it's about them taking that next step and continuing to compete. Um, Golden State Warriors. I mean, what else can I say that hasn't been said about them? One of the best teams to ever play the game. You know, that squad or that core that's been there for all those years. Steph Curry for me is now 10. It doesn't matter where he is. Like everybody can have their own top 10 or where they want to put him, but he's solidified his place, at least in my eyes. I never hated him, but I was always a little skeptical, like, you know, he's great. He's a great shooter, but what else can he do? And he's over the years has always just, of course, shut me up. Become a better defender, become a better all-around player. So I think this solidifies him as one of the greatest players, top 10 players to ever pick up a basketball. Man, it was just amazing to see. And because he's like 34 years old, so he's nearing the end of his career. So I'm kind of hoping we can see at least 3 or 4 years of peak Steph Curry decides to maybe hang him up, because he's amazing to watch and a sight to behold. And anybody who likes basketball or is thinking about watching basketball should definitely like watch him and see how he plays, because it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, for sure. He makes the game look easy. Just the way he plays, the way he downs and 3-pointers. Oh
Yeah.
man, he's a special player. Really, we're blessed to get to watch him. Okay, so not long now until the preseason games start. We're going to be out in your part of the world, in America, playing most of our preseason games there. You're going to get a chance to go to any of them?
Uh, will not be able to, me personally, but we're gonna have a couple of Austin Gooners heading out to Orlando for, I believe, the very first match against Everton, like mid to late July or something like that. So yeah, so we'll send a delegation out there to represent for Texas, or at least for Austin, right? There's a lot of other places in Texas that love the Gooners. But I'll watch most likely from. They don't really broadcast those games like on ESPN or like any of like the big sports networks. So we might have to like watch it on like the Arsenal website or something like that. They might put it somewhere on TV that most likely won't be at the bars. So I'll just watch it at home. But I'm really hoping, like I mentioned earlier, like to get a bunch of our signings in time so that they can join us, so that we can see what they're going to be doing with those guys on the squad, and just drum up some excitement, because the expectations are high. this is the first time they've been in America for a few years. I think just right before COVID. I think they came in 2019. It was that big international Champions Cup, which is really exciting to watch a bunch of the players playing in American stadiums. And then it happened, so of course they didn't come through. And then last year, same thing. So it's going to be great to kind of see them make some noise in America again and play against like an MLS team. They're playing Orlando City. So yeah, it's gonna be great, man. I'm pretty excited to just kind of get the show on the road, man. So football season never ends, man. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, bro, not long to go. Time flies. Before we know it, it's going to be 5th of August, first Premier League game of the season. So yeah, looking forward to that. So that's all from us. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man. Good talking to you, and we'll talk to you. Hopefully next time we'll have some actual signings versus like speculation, right? So we'll have more stuff and exciting stuff to talk about. Or we're gonna be here sad that somebody didn't join us. So whatever. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, for sure, bro. So yeah, that's all from us. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share.